Yeah, I feel so bad.
So
I really do. I really
so you
do.
donated so you donated to Wikipedia because you didn't want to be part of the 98%.
I didn't want to be part. Yes, I didn't want to be. I wanted to be the 2%. Okay, I want to be the 2%. I'm gonna read. Hi, reader in the U.S. It seems you use Wikipedia a lot. That's great. It's awkward to say, but this Tuesday we humbly ask for your help. Our 2019 fundraiser will be over very soon. Fewer than 2% of our exceptional readers donate. If Wikipedia gives you $2.75 worth of knowledge, the cost of your Tuesday coffee. They keep saying that. Cost of your Tuesday.
Cost of your Tuesday coffee.
Well, guess what, buddy? I go to Dunkin' Donuts, and it's more than that. So, and to get people Starbucks, what coffee cost? Whatever. $2.75 worth of knowledge. The cost of your Tuesday coffee. Please take a minute to secure its future with a gift to the Wikimedia Endowment. Thank you.
Wikimedia.
Yeah, I guess that's the name of the conglomerate or whatever. The conglomerate, whatever. Shut up. Who cares? Wikipedia's gonna die. Wikipedia's gonna die.
Well, what's gonna happen if we lose? That's
Dude, I won't be able to write my YouTube scripts without Wikipedia.
Wikipedia is really decent, honestly.
No, it is. I all shit talking aside. I actually really like. I really like Star. Oh, by the way, we should probably refrain from using as many curse words. As you know, YouTube looks for that junk. So
yeah,
let's try to. I mean, I'm not saying we can't use it.
I'm aware. I'm
Yeah.
aware, you know.
So
use Fraggle Garble.
Fraggle Garble. Is that what you actually?
Friggle Grabble.
All right. So I guess we'll just. How do you want to start it? You want to just say, "Hi, guy"? No.
Well, okay. It's been a long time since I watched the original trilogy, but I have pretty fond memories of it, and I remember it pretty well. So,
that's how you're gonna really start this video off?
How do you want to start it off, wise guy?
Ooh, Dylan, totally nonchalantly, let me tell you all about these 3 movies I just saw. Wow, Cody, that's really interesting. I didn't know you just saw those. This is totally out of the blue.
What do you want to do?
Hello and welcome to a video series where... What do you want me to do? Whatever, dude. Welcome. I'm going to point him out. Welcome. I'm touching you right now. Welcome to a video series where we talk about movies we have never seen. Well, one of us. For this one particularly, I have never watched Star Wars, the original trilogy, until recently. And I actually really liked it. But, well, this is getting janky. But nonetheless, it is, isn't it? Whatever. Look, man, fuck it. All right, fuck it. I just recently watched Star Wars, all right? I I actually really liked it.
We just held the audience like they were like a baby, like, oh my one viewer, bless you, my one viewer.
Look, I can't even get past this part. I just recently watched Star Wars. The original trilogy. Yeah. I actually really liked it, and I wanted to go through why I never watched it until now, and what are my views of it watching it in 2019, today as a grown-ass adult. You know, what do I think of a movie kind of intended for children more so now? I mean, that's no disrespect. I know immediately some guy probably just got mad in the comments.
What?
I can't say it.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know, it's going to be capital F, so...
I'm 34 years old and I watch Star Wars every day.
Dude, they're older than that now. They're like 50. Like 50-something now, dude.
I'm a boomer and I love Star Wars. Remember Indiana Jones?
I'll have you know.
Man, movies were way better back in my day.
He's not wrong, though. Like, at least in the mainstream videos. I mean, obviously, movies...
I watched Parasite.
I don't even know what that is. We're not talking about that.
It's a really good Korean film. Maybe I'll...
Pair of crap. We're talking about Star Wars, the greatest trilogy ever. Well, I don't know. But nonetheless, Star Wars. Why I never saw it originally was because I always kind of blew it off, honestly. I always was like, oh, Star Wars, I always get the same response, which is kind of what made me want to make this series. I would always say, they'd say, oh, talk about Star Wars. I say, I've never seen Star Wars. I almost kind of like a douche. I'd almost say it kind of like proudly. I've never seen Star Wars. And they'd always be like, you've never seen Star Wars, dude? Like, yeah, I've never seen Star Wars. And so I almost got like a bit of a high off of it for just telling people that, and they get upset. I can safely say today I was a douche. I shouldn't have done that because honestly, they're great movies.
You can't say that anymore. You can't say you haven't seen Star Wars. You can't get that rise out of people.
I can still say that for the original trilogy and the new trilogy. A lot of people really like it. The new trilogies, I've heard, it's getting the best reviews.
You could always lie. You could lie.
About what? The original trilogy?
You could lie about not seeing Star Wars. You can still get the same reaction out of people.
That's true, but that's nah. I actually like it. Well, here's the thing. That's what makes this great. I watched the original trilogy on Disney Plus. Let me be very clear. I did not watch the original theatrical release, which I will get into my opinions on that.
One thing to get out of the way: we're not sponsored by Disney Plus. Don't worry.
Thank God, we're not. We should have faked that. Honestly, we should have just faked like, dude, Disney, please, we love Disney, please. No, maybe not. People would click off. Whatever.
Disney! Oh my God! Disney!
No, but let's start with the New Hope. Star Wars originally it was actually just called Star Wars. It was not. I mean, everybody knows this, but still, it was originally just Star Wars, and then George Lucas had to come through and realized I should be smarter about this approach and make it even cooler by calling it. I actually think it's really cool that the name change, calling it Episode 4 at the time, because it's like people would say, "Where's Episode 1, 2, and 3?" It probably confused people like back in the day, though. They were like, "What the hell? Where's the first 3?" They're like, "That's the mystery, right? Because you don't really know." It's like it creates this little beautiful world.
Did the first Star Wars movie, Star Wars: A New Hope, did it have the 4 on it?
Not original, not original release in 1977. It was literally just called Star Wars. That's it. And then he later, like a year later, or maybe I don't know how long it was ago, but then I know it wasn't a long time. Like obviously before Empire came out, before Empire he renamed it to Episode 4: A New Hope.
Hold on a minute. Like back in 1980, whatever, he decided to make it Episode 4, even though it was the first movie in the trilogy he had made.
Yeah, it just says, and it was later rebranded as episode in the Skywalker saga.
So people back in like 1982, they were looking at Star Wars, Episode 4: A New Hope, Episode 5: Empire Strikes Back, and
yes. No, yeah. So what, you thought this was something that they did like after the prequels came out?
Yeah.
No, this was a long time ago.
Hold on.
Like that. So So their idea, I assume, this is all. I mean, this is all written, like, well known. I just don't know about this part. I'm just assuming. I think what it was essentially, before the second one came out, Lucas thought it would be cooler because like it has this whole aura around it, like as if it's a story. Because it starts off in a galaxy, Star Wars fans are gonna kill me. In a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. How does it go?
Long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You just watched them. You just watched it.
I did. I'm sorry. I'm not. I have a bad memory in some regards, but
got lack of brain cells.
Yes. Okay. That is the beginning quote. It has this whole mysticism around it. So it's like his whole story, and I think his mind. Why not create it as Episode 4 so it has a more mystery to it? Because you don't know where's 1, 2, and 3. Is it just lost in time? And it's like you're just jumping in the middle of it. Because starting off with the New Hope, you do kind of jump in the middle of everything. The Empire's already got a lot of power. They're literally just going into Leia's ship, and they're like, "We're gonna come and take you now because we have proof that you're working with the rebels, and you have the blueprints to the Death Star." So it's already in the middle of it. Like it starts off. One of the first scenes is that the infamous hallway scene of all of her guards getting blasted by stormtroopers, and that's the first time you see stormtroopers and the first time you see Darth Vader. It's a great scene.
It was so good that they recreated it in that really awful like prequel movie, Rogue One.
Oh, isn't that like they made it like way more violent than it was? Darth Vader comes through and like kills everybody, even though it like kind of defeats like Darth Vader's entrance, because like the whole point was he's so he carries himself so much in that scene. Like the moment he walks out, you're like, oh god, like great creation because all the stormtroopers are pure white. Darth Vader's pure black. He comes out in this black suit. He's obviously different from all of them. He's taller than all of them. He's got the cape. Like everything about him is distinctly different. You hear his breathing apparatus going off. I think he talks a little bit, and you hear his voice is like very deep. Darth Vader is such a genius villain. Everything about him, just the way he look, he's intimidating in every sense of that word. He's amazing. Carries every scene he's in too. It's
yeah,
just every
no,
scene
great entrance. You know, very strong way to open up a movie. And yeah, Rogue One has him kind of like just stabbing up people. I don't know. I like that. That was like the one interesting part about Rogue One, was the least original part of it.
We're not talking about Rogue One, man. Stop talking. Stop
We're talking
being
about
negative.
Star Wars.
We're talking about the good Star Wars, okay? We're talking about the good Star Wars. We're talking about A New Hope, which has our titular hero, Luke Skywalker, who is a dweeb.
Played by
Mark Hamill, but he's a dweeb. Okay, he is a major dweeb. The first time I noticed how much of a loser he really was, beginning, was when he goes and sits, like, he gets C-3PO and R2-D2, right?
Yeah.
And he goes over and his uncle's
well,
like,
Luke. First off, his uncle told him to go get some droids. He was like,
well, Luke, go get these droids. He's like, Dad, I don't wanna.
It's not. First off, he doesn't call him Dad. He's uncle. Second off, he doesn't actually. That's not how it goes. What happens is that they go and get the droids, and then he tells Luke, go clean up the droids in your room. And Luke goes to his room, and the first thing he's like, oh, he goes to his room, sits on his bed. This is the hero of the movie. Sits on his bed, grabs a little toy ship, and he literally does this. He like plays with it. I'm like, Luke, how old are you, bro? That's like a modern man playing with like an anime figure.
I mean,
that's what that was.
It's like you owning all those amiibos.
Yeah. So he plays with this little ship, and by the way, I guess I just gotta say, all the practical effects. It's so great to see a movie. For me, I knew it always was well known for having its practical effects, but man, when you actually see them in action, like R2-D2, knowing that it's like a little guy in a suit, and like he has to, I mean, it's in some ways you could say it's a little weird, right? Because like some of the movements they had to think of like on the spot, like you would think R2-D2's got wheels, so he would only ever like up and down, but sometimes he actually like waddles, and I think they kind of just had to do that like to get him awkwardly into a thing. So I don't think that was probably thought out. They were just like, the guy in the suit just started waddling, and they're like, just keep it in. Like, that's how R2-D2 gets around. He's a robot. Whatever. We'll just make up however R2-D2 moves. Nobody knows how he moves. We make it up. So I think it's cute. I think R2-D2 is super cute.
Well, that's also the best part about this trilogy is that, and with sci-fi in most cases, you could totally have something that doesn't make sense, and it's just like, it's space. It's sci-fi. It makes sense. And that's especially what Star Wars did really well. Star Wars did things so well that they used practical, what was it, for the Stormtrooper, or for Han's blaster, they used an actual, like, Luger. Well, everything was pieced together. Like, the backpack of the Stormtroopers in the sand area, like, it was just literally the backpack they made from stuff from a hardware store. They just put it together. Yeah, they just went into fucking Joe's hardware store. It's like, give me that, Cody, what else do we need?
Just
that
get that Gorilla Glue.
Get that paint roller. Yeah, that would look really cool on like Darth Vader or something.
That's essentially one of my most favorite things about watching this original trilogy, and especially with my first viewing of A New Hope, is that there's just a lot of charm. There's a heck of a lot of charm to it, even with its flaws, like physical flaws, like. Everybody knows the scene now where with that hallway scene again, the Stormtrooper walks out and the first one actually hits his head off the top of the elevator. He's like, and just keeps going. But it's like, whatever. I mean, it's like human flaws that are like, Stormtroopers are humans. That's probably what happened in real life. I'm sure some people hit their head. I mean, any soldier would hit their head sometimes. And I like that. Like nowadays, we're all super serious. They're never messing up. You know, I like the fact that there's these little flaws, and like I always say, when everybody's dead and that all the guards are dead and there's one stormtrooper walking over them, and he's walking kind of awkwardly because he's just like a real dude in a suit, like stepping over some bodies in a suit that he's probably not used to at all. Like he probably just put it on for the first time for this scene. So he's like walking over the bodies, like kind of holding his head. I think he's actually kind of holding his helmet a little bit. It's amazing. I was like, this is great. Like the moment I first saw that, I said this movie's gonna be awesome. And so the set design still looks great. And this is 1977, probably shot in 76, 75 and 76. I think it did take him a while to edit the film. This is mid 70s and the sets look great. And I get it. Like, yes, they've recolored it and they've added some stuff, obviously, so they can make it look a little better than it did back in the day. But still, like, the sets look great. Like when you're in Tatooine, I love the way they've done the huts. I love like the Jawas, the little guys with the hoods who are getting all the droids. There's no explanation of like that's what I love about it too. You're in the world and it's just assumed that it's there. The Jawas are there. There's no explanation. What are Jawas? Are they wearing masks with little lights on? Are they actually like little guys that actually have bright yellow eyes? We don't know. They just exist. I'm sure somebody knows, but I'm taking it just from I don't read hundreds of Star Wars books and comics and what Lucas has said later. I'm just going off of my viewing. That's what I'm just taking it straight like the people did in 1977. I don't know what a Jawa is other than it's a little cute guy in a hood who all
Jawas
blasted.
Are a pygmy rodent-like race.
Don't tell me. I don't want to know. They got blasted. Look, they're dead now. At least the Jawas we know from the movie, they're all dead. That's what happened. So going through the film, I guess a bit. I'm not going to go beat by beat, but just some big things that stand out. My favorite actor throughout the whole film, easily, is the gentleman who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? Alec Guinness. Alec Guinness, which, by the way, I guess as everybody knows too, he apparently hated Star Wars. He absolutely hated Star Wars. He thought it was really bad, but he played his role. I don't know. I mean, I thought his acting was so good. He's an older guy. He plays it so well. I love his accent.
Is he still alive?
No, he passed away a long time ago. He's old in 1977.
Died in 2000. Do you think Alex Guinness regrets not living to see the prequels?
He saw the first one and then died.
That's unfortunate.
But we'll get to that another time.
He was just like.
But I loved his acting in it. I love the fact that the way he kind of talked about it, like when Luke, obviously they probably had an idea of who, like Luke's dad being Darth Vader, right? So when he says, he's like, who was my dad? And my dad, like how was he? Be a good guy and all that. And you could tell Obi-Wan's kind of holding back. He's like, oh, your dad. He's like, he was a great man. He's a great Jedi. But he got defeated by Darth Vader. Darth Vader beat him, and he was technically not lying. He's just kind of skewing the facts a little bit. Because I mean, how could you even break that to him? Like, oh, Luke, by the way, your dad, yeah, oh, he's the big evil dude who's like screwing the whole world. You just take that on face, and like Luke would probably be destroyed, like he is later. But
Luke would be like, "Old fucking man, you're lying. You're lying through your teeth. Get out of here."
I love when he first gets the lightsaber and everything. But I mean, let's get to move forward a bit. Some of my favorite stuff with A New Hope. We get to the cantina scene, very famous scene. All the aliens and stuff. The guy with the pig nose is like, "My friend doesn't like you." He reminded me of you. It reminded me of you. A tough bar. Like if you were somehow in the Star Wars world, you would literally do exactly what Luke does, where he's like sitting there. You like tap the guy. He like pulls on his shirt. Luke actually pulls on the guy's shirt. He's like, the guy turns around like, what? He's like, can I just get a drink? He's like, oh, okay. Gets him a drink, and then the guy pulls him, like immediately pulls on his shoulder. Luke goes over. He's like, my friend doesn't like. Oh no, that was the alien that does it first. A weird butt face alien. Like pulls on him, and he's just like, and Luke's just like, what the fuck? And the guy's just like, my friend doesn't like you, and all Luke says is, I'm sorry, and goes back.
Sorry, jeez, I'm sorry.
And he just says, I don't like you either. Oh, God, what else I don't remember what else Luke says, but it's still funny to me. It just reminded me, like, I feel like that was the same way you would react. Oh, I think he says, I'll keep that in mind. And then he turns back around.
I'll keep that in mind.
Obi-Wan has to cut his hand off with the lightsaber, which, get into that a little bit. Lightsabers, I think to this day are still really cool. We all know Lucas was heavily inspired by a lot of Kurosawa films, particularly Seven Samurai.
Was he?
Yeah, he was heavily inspired by a lot of those, which particularly they want to mix like things like Flash Gordon, westerns, which is why you have people having like blasters still and lightsabers. You never, at the time, never really saw, like if your movie was gonna have weapons, it was either gonna have swords or it was gonna have guns. It was not gonna have both together, because today the way they saw it, how are you gonna have swords when there's guns, right? It'd be stupid. Guns are gonna win every time. But now we've got lightsabers and blasters, and the lightsabers you can deflect them because they have Jedi powers, and it's epic. So it's cool that they figured out a way to kind of have them both, and so it has samurai feels to it, like the way samurai tones to a lot of the way like Darth Vader and stuff. Like his helmet almost looks his whole suit kind of looks almost like a samurai outfit almost. And actually, they were originally going to get one of the big actors from who appeared in many Kurosawa films. They wanted to get him to play Darth Vader. He declined, saying, "Nah, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that kind of stuff." He's kind of old at the time too. So then they went with someone else, but they originally wanted him to be in there. They were really pushing for a lot of Kurosawa references in it, which they still have some and everything, which is why you should probably start watching some Kurosawa. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that next episode.
Next episode, episode 20.
Episode 20 forever.
A New Hope was extremely charming. Every single scene was pretty good. The character interactions were a little stilted in some regards, but like Han Solo with like Luke was still a little rough. Not horrible, but it was just like you could tell they were actors. You know, this is their first time working together, so obviously they're going to be stilted in some scenes, what have you. But Han Solo was great. Leia was great. There's all these famous scenes that people call back to, like the junk compactor scene where they get into the junk compactor. Oh my God, help us out, please. It's actually handled pretty well with like they're actually like about to die essentially. C-3PO like calls him on the thing, and then he messes up on something. He's like, "What? You want us to do this?" And they're like, "No, please save us." And he's like, "Oh,
C-3PO, what are you doing?"
C-3PO! Like he's actually like, screaming. I'm like, "Oh my God, poor Luke." I mean, I guess I'd be like that too if I was about to get crushed and there was like a little alien thing that almost drowned me out in the stinky poo water. What was that? Does anybody ever talk about that? What was that? Was that a robot or was that an alien? I think it was an alien. Why was there an alien in a Death Star junk room?
What was it actually? It was Wikipedia says it was called a Dianoga.
Why was it there? Why was it in a... Nonetheless,
I don't know.
A New Hope was actually a pretty simple story about the whole goal was
Dianagoa would often prove a nuisance by nesting in bodies of water, sewage systems, and whatever large concentrations of dirty, appalling liquid they could locate.
How did it get on a Death Star? Like, I could understand on a planet. How did it get on a Death Star? In a junk room?
Well, maybe they...
I mean, obviously that's where their sewage goes.
Maybe they got some junk from...
Let's think about this.
From Coruscant or Tatooine. They brought it onto the Death Star and they
sits
threw
in
it
sewage.
away.
They were standing in poo-poo water.
Stinky, smelly poo-poo water. He went...
They probably smelled really bad.
And he went under... And he probably got some of that poo-poo water in his mouth.
Luke drank some pee-pee water.
Drank
some Stormtrooper pee-pee. He probably drank some of Darth Vader's pee-pee.
He got some of the Force inside of him early
What are we talking about? Look, let's get back to the story here. The story for A New Hope is actually pretty simple.
It's the typical hero's journey. So
yeah,
for those who don't know, the hero's journey is one of the simplest forms of storytelling.
Which what makes Star Wars so endearing, in my opinion. It's a story that's been with us for so long.
It started off all the way back with like the Greeks and all that, with the story of Gilgamesh, the first hero's journey. So the hero's journey is very simple. Maybe I can pull it up on screen actually. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So first you have the call to adventure, which is like, hey, Luke, come, do this thing, and then you
He
have
kind of got pulled into it. His uncle and aunt got burned into crust.
So it's very specific. So you have the call to adventure. The hero rejects the call to adventure. It's like, I can't. I have to stay on the farm.
He actually does. Yeah, he actually literally does.
He says, no, I can't do that.
And then his uncle and aunt died. And he was like, I guess I got to save the world.
And then you have the something about resistance and threshold. And that's something terrible happens to the hero, and he's forced to go on this adventure, pretty much against his will. It's like his uncle dies, and Ben's like, come, Luke, it's time to go. And Luke's just like, I got nothing, so fuck it. I'll go with his
He
old
literally
man.
I have my toy ship. Oh, they burnt that too?
They burnt that to a crisp. That's gone, Luke.
He lost his toy ship.
Luke,
that's the biggest rest in peace.
Gone.
That's the biggest rest in peace moment, was not his dead uncle's corpse on the ground, but it actually is toy ship. Look, yes, it follows a very basic, not basic, but like very endearing story structure throughout time for the hero structure. Yeah, it's very classical, which is good. I think it works out really well for it because it's telling a lot of new things at the time. So I think handling the story structure simply, I think, is what also got a lot of people into it. Like, it wasn't so completely new that a lot of people are like, man, this is too weird, you know? So the sets were great, the stories were great, the characters were great. It's funny, I knew the metal scene was a thing. I didn't know that was straight in the first movie. Like, it was the first movie, even if it was the only one, was pretty complete, honestly.
The metal scene?
Where they get the medals, and Chewie doesn't get one of
these. Oh, yeah. That's the first movie, because they blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, I mean, the whole movie that's what's great about Star Wars Episode 4. It is its own complete movie, too. You should watch the other two, but it is its own complete thing at the same time. The heroes start small. The Death Star literally destroys a planet right in front of Leia. She's like they destroy her whole planet. That's billions of people dead. Billions of people possibly dead. They're dead, and they go in, they save her in a pretty cool way, and then they blow up the Death Star, which is handled amazingly well. Just little ships, it's all them fight. The one fat guy dies. He's like, I love the way it's great the way they died, like the way they set it up. They're like in their little, they had a camera for each and every one of them, like in their ships. Maybe not a camera.
It was kind of like Star Fox.
Yeah, it was probably, Star Fox was probably heavily inspired by this too. I mean, there's so many things inspired by Star Wars. It's so obvious now that I can see everything inspired by it. But it's like, they're all in their little ships, and all of a sudden they set up probably like pyrotechnics in the back, and so like all the smokers are like, ah! They just blow up and die. The shots, like all these. Here's where I got to get into this. The version that's on Disney Plus is the 1999 or 98 re-release, where they added in a bunch of special effects. I think the 2011 re-release, actually, I think they added more in 2000. So these are re-releases where they added special effects into them, which is, at least, let me start with A New Hope. The special effects were so bad. Like the original special effects were great. The new ones they added were like this really bad CGI. Like there's one scene where all the stormtroopers are in Tatooine looking for the droids, and they're like, I think we found something, right? There's one in the back that does it, but the whole shot pans from right to left. And originally it had one stormtrooper on this like alien beast riding it like a horse, and that's it. It was on a hill, was a prop, it never moved because obviously they didn't have animatronics like that big, but it looked cool. It was fine. It worked. Then they were like, Lucas probably saw it and said, look, we got to have one moving, guys. Get a really janky beast walking with the stormtrooper like this on top. It looks awful. I was like, oh my God. It takes you out of it because it's like, this movie obviously looks like it's from the 70s. But not in a bad way. It's an older film, you can tell. And I know this, obviously. I'm not dumb. I know this is an older film. And when I'm seeing stuff like that, and what bothers me is that there probably is more hidden stuff that I don't notice. I just want to see the movie in its true original release. Like, I've wished Disney Plus had that. Let me see it in its true original release so I could be impressed by the effects that they got done. Because I know there is stuff that they got done back then, and it's pretty impressive. And what's cute, too, is there's janky stuff now that, like when the lightsaber's on, like the first time he turns on the lightsaber, the scene, like, there's an obvious cut from like him with off, and then it's on, and he's like Mark Hamill slightly moved, so it's just like, I'm like, oh, it's so janky, but it's like, what? That's the best they could do. That's the best they could do, and it looks good still. Like they actually had to like I think
they could have taken another take.
Probably they didn't. They didn't think about it until it got to that when they were in post production. They're probably like, shit,
Fuck.
it's too late. And so there's that, and then there's I'm trying to think of some janky stuff with it. Like every time they had to do an automatic door shut, you could tell that they just basically did like a stop motion for the door, but it was like a janky stop motion, like it just shuts behind them because they couldn't like actually make. I don't know why. I guess they just didn't have the techniques to just have a door shut.
I thought they could have just had people behind the set go like.
They didn't do that. They chose to do stop motion on the door closing, and it looks janky as hell. But it's got a charm to it. You can tell like this is a whole team of people who are talented for their time, but they're limited by the technology, and they did their best with what they had and the budget. Of course, the budget was probably way larger for a lot of movies back then, but it still was like, for what they had, it's very endearing. But the whole story is simple, and I love A New Hope. It's charming. I think it's great for anybody of any age. I think it's great to watch, especially if you like the creation of if you like a lot of stuff about film. If you like a film for entertainment, Star Wars is great entertainment. A New Hope is great entertainment. But if you also want to go into it like for historical reasons or watching a movie like from that time, how do they make films during that time? All kinds of film study, everything. Like everybody already does anyway. A New Hope to this day holds up very well.